Victor Jeet's Gangadin Biography, Our Lives, a Parenthesis in Eternity, read by Arvin Gangadin, his great-nephew. He came from humble beginnings. He was in the British Army. Through self-study, he became an accountant. His glittering career included Income Tax Commissioner and United Nations. His time in this world was short, like a shooting star which brightens the night sky for a brief moment and is gone forever. Victor G. Gangadin was born on October 9, 1924, at Bath Estate, West Coast Prairies. He was the second child and eldest son of 9 children to cane cutter Thomas Taylor Gangadin and Bhagwan Tia Jani. He died when he was only 55 years old. The name Victor Gangadin is widely known. Recorded in this short biography are contributions from Victor's family, in particular his daughter Maggie, and from Samuel Singh, Roy Yerakadu, and Maurice Solomon, Victor's close friends and contemporaries at work and socially. Victor only attended primary school up to his second standard. He then went to live with his uncle, Sidnath Jani, in Blairmount and worked in the estate office as bookkeeping clerk or an office boy. He had some problems with the head bookkeeper. He was then summarily dismissed and physically taken out of the office. Bath Estate was a sugarcane growing plantation part of the Blairmount Estate Complex, which also included provenance of the east bank of the Burbis River. Bath was commonly known as 16. It has a thriving population in the early years, with school, shops including rum shop, pay office, temple, and masjid. At the time of Victor's growing up years, the management comprised an administration manager, a deputy manager, and a head overseer. These top 3 lived in large houses with plenty of yard space and lovely gardens. The 3 overseers lived in an apartment complex with separate independent units for each of them. They were provided meals at an adjacent mess house. Victor left Blairmount at around 60 years old with his parents' permission and went to Georgetown to join the army. He was in the infantry. This was a significant juncture in Victor's earliest career. Roy Yerakadu, FCIS FCCA, a close friend, met Victor through his brother Harry. At that time, Victor was an inspector of taxes. Roy tells of Victor's early years in these recollections. He joined the British Guyana Home Guard during World War II and rose to the rank of corporal. One day, as private, he was packing corned beef cartons on a shelf. He had an argument with the sergeant and told the sergeant that if he didn't stop Freddy, that he would throw a carton on him. The sergeant said, "Throw it," and Victor did. Fortunately, it wasn't designed to hit the sergeant, but rather to express frustration. Victor was put under military detention. The librarian said to Victor that instead of always getting into trouble, he should read a book. The book she gave him was Introduction to Bookkeeping by Rowley. Victor read the book and started to work out an exercise. He checked the answer and it was correct. He did another and found out it was done correctly, and so he continued throughout. This was his starting into the accounting profession. When the war ended, Victor decided to stay in Georgetown as job opportunities were better there. He got a job doing bookkeeping at Ramsden. He married Selina Gaffoon Bacchus on November 19, 1946. He had met her whilst he was in the army. She was working at the Chronicle newspaper at the time. While in work doing bookkeeping, Victor started to study via a correspondence course to obtain qualifications in accountancy. At his young age, like everyone else, Victor wanted a good job, to earn good money and to make a good living. He had perhaps not been aware that he had put his foot on the first rung of the ladder of outstanding achievements and will blossom into a brilliant career, outstanding by any measure. The correspondence course was run by Wolsey Hall in Oxford, England. This was the option for many people who could not attend university or college to obtain a qualification ranging from a senior Cambridge certificate to a university degree or professional qualification. From around 1947 to 1963, Victor studied at home assiduously, and one by one he passed examinations leading to professional qualities. During this time, Victor also had the responsibility of a family, his wife and young children. These children were born during the same period while he was studying. The first son was Krishna, also known as Tommy, born on August 10, 1947, followed by his daughter, Sobhana, also known as John, on August 17, 1949. Second son Vijay, Poppy, was born on October 5th, 1950, followed by Sandra Mickey on July 22nd, 1953, and lastly, Margaret Mary Indira, known as Maggie, born on the 22nd, 1956. Roy detailed Victor's success at the accountancy examinations. He passed the examinations on the Corporation of Certified Secretaries. He continued his studies for the Association of Certified and Corporate Accountants, ACCA. When he wrote the Section 1 of the finals, he failed one subject. In those days, you had to repeat all your papers. There was a concession that you could write one section and two sections together in those circumstances. Victor had the record of being the only person in British Guyana to pass both sections at one sitting, all 13 subjects. Many people had the academic and professional qualifications of Victor, but it was the circumstances under which he did it. No formal schooling after second standard of primary school. He passed BCE and LLB from London University. When he attended the Commonwealth College of Taxation, he got first place. Victor was concerned that, because he didn't attend high school, that his English was not up to standard. He wrote the Wolseley Hall Advisory, and the advisor said that if his English was not up to standard, he would have been told by this that his English was at a very high standard, and said that he always admired the use of English by Indians. His advisor said that the best department in English is not in Oxford or Cambridge, but at Madras University. Victor did study English at a professional level in English as a subject at the Interior ACCS. Victor was admitted to membership of the ACCA in 1952. He would have passed the ACCS a few years earlier. He obtained his BSc Econ degree in 1958 and the LLB degree in 1963. This is his certificate. Victor G. Gangadin, having passed the prescribed examinations, had this day been admitted by the Senate of the degree of Bachelor of Science Economics as an external student. Victor's decision to become an accountant was remarkable. Considering his background, it showed he had ambition to be self-supporting and to eventually break out of the limitations of working in the sugarcane plantations or as an employee under someone else. He did not have the benefit of a high school education. Indeed, at that time, it would not have been a serious option. Very few of his contemporaries from Claremont or from other countryside would have gone to high school. This was due mainly to the high costs which only few families could afford. Fees, travel expenses, or boarding and lodging, plus the fact that there was only one high school, Burby's High School, within reach by road or by railroad, from Belmont. There were very few high schools in the country at Victor's time, sometime in Georgia, and there were some in Quarantine High School. His decision also demonstrated that his horizons were far beyond what might be expected of someone else for whom the role models in his day. The top people from among the ordinary folk in his line of work were head bookkeepers. They would normally have acquired their knowledge and skills through years of work and learning from their superiors. The accountant was superior to head bookkeeper, someone with qualifications, invariably an exclusive breed of the overseer class. Victor was not only hardworking and brainy, as shown in his academic achievements, but he was always seen to look beyond his immediate day-to-day commitments. He decided to open up his own school, Mercantile Academy in the Thomas Street, Georgetown, where he taught accounting. He also taught night classes at the University of Guyana. Aside from his professional life, Victor played his part in lending his support to community affairs. He was a member of the Mahatma Gandhi organization at Thomas Lands. He was good at speaking Hindi. He would have acquired the basics from his parents in the community at Bath Estate in his early years, and improved it on working at UNICEF. He also played cricket. In 1953, Victor bought a house at 32 Anara Street, Queenstown, Georgetown. He moved his parents and some siblings to live in with him. In the 1960s, Victor got a job at Inland Revenue as a tax inspector. He very quickly moved to the top, becoming the deputy commissioner and then income tax commissioner around 1965. As income tax commissioner, the head of a government department anywhere, one would perhaps feel one has arrived. the time to enjoy all the perks of such a top-level job and look forward to a good life. Not so with Victor, who was in 1964 only 40 years old. With an enviable record of academic achievement and at least another 15 years of working life ahead of him, he decided to make the brave move and to leave his prestigious job to scale another peak, the challenge and honor of working for the United Nations. Victor was offered a job within the United Nations as auditor for UNICEF division, which he accepted and moved to New York in 1967 with his wife and children. The definition of UNICEF is the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. It was created in 1946. A permanent part of the UN, it had been the driving force to work for children the world over, to secure children's rights for protection, education, healthcare, shelter, good nutrition, freedom from poverty, violence, disease, and discrimination. End of part 1.